This is Elle, and this is my annual WIP parade. So 1 year ago, in November of 2020, I started my Flosstube channel by introducing myself with all my WIPs. And I thought, instead of doing a WIP parade in January like a lot of Flosstubers do, which I find myself overwhelmed. There are too many out there, and it's hard to see them all. So I thought I would do my WIP parade in November every year to celebrate the fact that it's another year that I've continued to do this. And then in January, I'll do my normal update, and I'll do a finished parade along with my plans for the year. So anything that I finished from last year's WIP parade, I will show in my January update with my finishes. So today is only going to be the WIPs, and I have, as I mentioned, I have 4 UFOs, or pieces I gave up on. The first one is the sampler that I got out of an out-of-print Better Homes and Gardens book, and I was changing the colors to update it, and I picked up this fabric. It's a hemp fabric off, I think, eBay, and I thought, oh, I've never used hemp, and I will never use it again. My threads continued to slip under, and it got to the point that every time I picked it up, I would just groan and think, I don't want to do this on this fabric. So right now I have too much on my plate. I might restart it, but for now, the fabric is gone. The other one, another one I gave up on, was Animal Crossing. This was not in my WIP parade, but if you followed along throughout the year, you know that I was doing the free sale that was the Animal Crossing. I'm not good at mystery sales, it turns out. So I didn't like the charting. There were so many fractionals, and when it came down to it, my grandchildren love the game, but I don't know that they love it enough for me to have gone through and recharted each one to make it look the way I wanted, or to stitch all those fractionals. I also had a mountain scene that I purchased off Etsy, and it's okay, but that's just it. It's just okay. So I've put that away. Actually, I've just trashed that. I deleted it. I know there's so much more that I want to stitch. That's something that's just okay. I don't want to stitch. And the other one was this Home Sweet Home, and I'm going to show you here. And this, the whole background was supposed to be white, and the cups and the saucer and all that stuff on the bottom, the picture, was supposed to be white. And if you can see, this is blue and pink, and there is A22 in here, but it's mostly blue and pink. And the white pottery that is at the bottom of this design is also in blue and pink. I started this before Pattern Keeper, and so I was just telling myself, trust the process, it'll turn out. And then when I got Pattern Keeper, I put it in and I looked at the mock-up, and I just hated it. I just hated it. So that has been UFO'd. I cut off the bottom of that fabric and I've repurposed it. So now we'll get on to my WIPs. Now I'm doing this from oldest to newest. So we're going to start with Silver Landscape. This is Silver Landscape by Carriage House Sampling. And this is charted in both needlepoint silk and DMC. So I'm doing the DMC conversion. And here's where it was. And this is exactly the way it was last year. I have not touched this because I didn't like the fabric. Now let me see if I can bring this up and show you. I don't think I can do the two at the same time. Well, maybe. Okay, so you see the fabric is more of a grayish, and it gives the look of, you know, the cold winter day, and that's what I wanted. And this fabric doesn't. I love the fabric. Don't get me wrong, I love the fabric. But I now found another piece of fabric, and this is going to be closer, and I'll put the two together. So you can see the one is very blue and the other one is less. Now this is by Vintage Needle Arts on Etsy. They also have their own website, vintageneedlearts.com. This is a 16 count Gathering Storm is the name of this one. So that's number one. That's Silver Landscape. And I'll be restarting that in January. It's one of my, I've mentioned, I think in my last video, that I have a whole bunch of starts I'm doing January. That's going to be a restart, and that gets started in January. So the next one is End of Forest Grew. I had no idea how many color changes would be in this. There are times you do 1-2 stitches and you're changing colors, but I love it. Now I will be recharting the quote, but this is where it is now. And this is on Picture This Plus. Am I getting all of this in here? I think so. 18 count Alchemy by Picture This Plus. So you see I've got the whole top minus the quote. I have the whole top done. And so now I'm just working on the bottom. So hopefully I'll get this finished this coming year. Okay, the next one is a free design. And this is on a Picture This Plus, but I don't remember the color of the fabric. This is an 18 count. And I'm using, I think this is a Gentle Art, I believe. I'll mention it later. Put it down below if I can. All right, and then this is the wings are in a Cottage Garden thread. So that's my free Dragonfly. Now that I finally decided what I want to do with that, now I'm excited to get it finished. I put it down for a long time because I just didn't care for the way the colors were coming out. And I pulled out the colors I didn't like, or I'm slowly pulling them out and putting in colors that just feel right. Okay, the next one is Lauren Harris's house in Caldwell, Lake Superior, Ontario, Canada. This is by Arenco Originals. And this was not available, or I didn't know it was available as a PDF when I bought this. And it's available, they have PDFs on their website. They had some on Etsy. I purchased this from Etsy, but this one was not in PDF. So I'm in the middle of this first page. Now the arrow here and the arrow here indicate the end of the first page. So that's where that is. And I don't think I've done anything more on this, but you'll know when you see the picture. So the next one is Stevie Ray. And a lot has been done on Stevie Ray. So Stevie Ray is close to being done. I'm not sure what I'm getting in here. Okay, so I have 11,619 stitches, I believe, left. I don't think I didn't put that down. This is I didn't say here. Lauren Harris is done on, this is not Zweigart. It is soft, but this is a 14 count, and it's just a white Aida. This is Stevie Ray is on a mystery light blue. So this is where most of the design is coming out that you can see. It does not want to stay. Okay, so you can see his guitars coming in there. So hopefully you're seeing this in the WIP parade, but hopefully you'll see this in January as a finish. Okay, my next one is by Soda Stitch. This is 4 Seasons, and I'm stitching this on a 18 count Zweigart that I just dipped in some blue dye, liquid red, just to give it the look of sky. So let's see here. Okay, there we go. So last time I worked on it was up here, but there's the comparison. This is fun, but I've had some, it's been a little difficult. I started this on paper, and now I've moved it into a PDF, and I'm working this on Pattern Keeper. So now I've had to try to merge the two and mark off what I already did. Okay, my next one is Nerthus. The artist is Majewski. This is on 20 count white Zweigart, and it's by Unconditional X Stitch. And here's where Nerthus is. And I've reached the bottom of the design. So now I'm just going to work my way across until that's finished. So I love this. I mean, I love all my WIPs, but I love this. Okay, the next one is, I've got thread here. One of my pieces here is not serged, and so it's shedding. Okay, the next one is John Lennon by Jim Warren. This is on 18 count white Zweigart, and I'm working on finishing out that first page. Colors in this are so vibrant, you know? There we go. All right. So now the next one is Fiona and Edward. This is by Kathy Barrick. I'm stitching this on a 14 count. I have it on the back of the page. So that 14 count Dapple by Picture This Plus. I'm changing all the colors. Okay, I believe this was 902 for the horse. And then you can see there's a gold for the mane. And what else did I change? Okay, and then the tail is still in that red. I'm changing all of that. So here it is now. And let's see if I can do this. The red is Dracula by Color and Cotton. The blue, okay, the blue that's in here, let me see here. Okay, the blue in here is $5.97, and in the original design that was supposed to be black, but the black blended in with the Dracula. Let's see if I can get the light. We're having an issue with the light today, so bear with me here. Usually it's a very bright and sunny room, but not so today. All right, now I decided to change the mane to black, and then the white, this is all the same. This is B5200, I believe, or white. No, it's just white. So that's where that is. Okay, so next is You Can Leave Your Hat On, and this is by Sandra Santara, and this is on 18 count Zweigart. It's just a white. So I'm filling in after I worked on, the last time I worked on this was after working on Stevie Ray, and all those blocks of color, I was looking forward to some confetti, so I picked this up and filled it in. But that's where that is. Okay, my next one is Dahlia. Now the before that you're gonna see, this is by Donna Kooler, is gonna be completely different. I kept working on it and I decided I hated it. I didn't hate it, I love the design, I hated my fabric. So I dyed a piece of fabric and I restarted it. So this is where that is. And you can see I've started putting a couple of the purples in, but this is page 1, 2, and this down here is 6. No, this is page 1, 4, 5. So I still have a little bit more to do in the leaves. I'm back stitching as I go. So most of all of this over here is done. And I haven't backstitched down at this bottom page, but before I move on to the next page, I will backstitch that. This is just an 18 count Zweigart that I dyed in teal liquid red. The next one is Luigis Mansion, and this is one I charted myself. I don't have this in Pattern Keeper, so I can't tell you anything about how many stitches I've done or percentage or anything like that. This I started doing, okay, let's see if I can, I'll start up here. I started up here and this section looked good, but then I moved over to here and all these colors were wrong. So I got frustrated and I recharted it. I started this in Pick to Pat and I recharted in Pixel Stitch. So I counted down and I started from the bottom and I'm working my way back up to the top. So then when I get to the top, I will decide which of these colors have to be pulled out to make that work. But I didn't want to have to frog the whole thing because I do know that this is right. Okay, so what did I do lately? I was doing this 2/1. This is on 25 count, and this is the easy count, easy grid, whatever it is. It's not something I'm fond of, so I think you can see I've done my own gridding over it because it just doesn't work for me. I started this 2/1, and now you can see I have this blue thread here. And now I'm putting that blue in, and I was doing this 1/1 full cross. I'm now doing it 2/1 tent, and even up close you can't tell the difference. So that way I'll get this done quicker because, well, this is for my grandson. He asked me to do this for him. Okay, the next one is Allison Snow White. This is by Jasmine Beckett Griffith, and I'm doing this on a 16 count platinum by Zweigart, and I'm glad I'm doing this on a full coverage because I don't think I'd like this fabric showing. This just isn't a color. It looks kind of dirty to me. So if I had it on my wall, I would think it looked dirty and I would want to wash it. So I've completed the first page, and now I'm starting to fill in the second page. There's no before and after because this was, if I'm not showing you before and after, it's because I've started it this year. Okay, this one is Paula Vaughn's October Quilt. And this is not a shadow from my lighting. This is actually shadow on the page. I own this book, but it was easier to work on it without it in the book because it just wouldn't stay. So this is where I am. I'm stitching this on 18 count Barnwood by Picture This Plus. I just wanted to try something different. And I think because, let me show you the design again. You can see here, it's kind of rounded, the design. And even at the top, it's kind of rounded. So when you go to frame it, unless you're going to try to make something oval, and it's not even exactly oval, the fabric will show. Being October, I just thought it would be cool to try the Barnwood. I love Barnwood. It's one of my favorite colors. So I think when I frame this, the colors are going to pop, and then I can show a little bit of the fabric, and I think it'll look really nice. All right, and finally, see, not too bad. This is Mini Dia de Muertos by Alexandra V. Bach. I'm sorry, my Spanish is horrible. I'm using this for this year only. I started this September 16th, and until January 1st, I'm doing this as an experiment of 100 stitches a day to see how that works for me. I normally don't switch projects in the day, in one day, but I found a way that works. And you can see I am finishing out the first page. So that's quite a bit to be done. This is on a 16 count French country. This is a Witchelt, and it is, the colorway is Rain. Now I chose this color because there's a lot of black, and even though the coverage is pretty good, you can still kind of see a little bit. And white, for whatever reason, just pops out more than any other color. I also have a lot of white in her face, and I hate stitching white on white. So this was the perfect color. It'll make the black look like it's been filled in better. And it's not too bad. Let me bring that in close. So you can see the coverage isn't too bad, but if that was white fabric, you would see the white. So those are my WIPs. That's everything I have for now. In January, I am going to blow it up, and I'm going to increase these 15 WIPs to 22. I'm going to follow Debbie from Creatively Yours. She said she was going to limit herself to 22 WIPs in 2022. I thought that was a great idea. That would give me more variety, maybe allow me to switch things up and not become so obsessed with finishing pieces like I usually am. So this is going to be kind of a challenge to my own personality and see how I do in not having that focus to finish as many things as I can finish in 1 year. So finally, oh, by the way, this is Alexandra V. Bach, and this is a Heaven and Earth design. Finally, I have a giveaway for you. As a thank you for everyone who has followed me and supported me, been there on this journey of filming myself, which I never thought I would do. I want to say thank you by giving you a Haid. So for those of you who enjoy stitching, I don't want to have to mail anything. Our mail has been slowed down. I don't know, I think they're trying to save money, but they've decided to slow down the speed at which things are delivered. I'm still having trouble with delivery. So because my favorite is full coverage, and I'll tell you what, I'll give you a choice. You can either, because I know I can do a rack both on Heaven and Earth, and I can do a rack on Unconventional X-Stitch. So whoever wins will have a choice between Heaven and Earth and Unconventional X-Stitch. If you would like to be entered, I'd like you to say something using the word thankful. This is the month of November, and in the United States, where I live, this is we will have Thanksgiving later this month. So tell me what you're thankful for this year. And with that, don't say giveaway. Don't say anything that would let somebody else know that we're doing this. But with that, I will say goodbye to you, and I will see you again next month. Have a great month. Thank you.